So we're looking at 612. It's the wholes, compare and contrast. So what you want is you want your text open in one tab and you want the questions open in another tab. Okay. So I like to just right click and open in a new tab. And then it's right there. Beautiful. And I'll do that with the questions as well. Okay. So the way that this is set up is chapter 6 is pretty big font. It's pretty big margins. It goes pretty quickly, but I'm not just going to read the whole thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to read a page and then we're going to answer question 1. And then I'll read page 2 and we can answer question 2. So I'm going to break it down like this. So I'm starting with reading the first page. So wholes, chapter 6. Stanley took a shower, if you could call it that, ate dinner, if you could call it that, and went to bed, if you could call his smelly and scratchy cot a bed. Because of the scarcity of water, each camper was only allowed a 4-minute shower. It took Stanley nearly that long to get used to the cold water. There was no knob for hot water. He kept stepping into it, then jumping back from the spray until the water shut off automatically. He never managed to use his bar of soap, which was just as well, because he wouldn't have had time to rinse off the suds. Dinner was some kind of stewed meat and vegetables. The meat was brown and the vegetables had once been green. Everything tasted pretty much the same. He ate it all and used his slice of white bread to mop up the juice. Stanley had never been one to leave food on his plate, no matter how it tasted. "What did you do?" one of the campers asked him. At first, Stanley didn't know what he meant. "They sent you here for a reason." "Oh," he realized, "I stole a pair of sneakers." The other boys thought that was funny. Stanley wasn't sure why. Maybe because their crimes were a lot worse than stealing shoes? "From a store, or were they on someone's feet?" asked Squid. Neither," Stanley answered. "They belonged to Clyde Livingston." Nobody believed him. "Sweet feet," said X-Ray. "Yeah, right." "No way," said Squid. Okay, so that was the first page. Let's answer question number 1. So I'm going to open my tab. And the directions say, in lesson 6, 12, and 11, we learned about comparing and contrasting. So apply your knowledge of comparing and contrasting to answer the questions below. So contrast Stanley's shower at Camp Green Lake with your normal shower. So what I would say is something like this. So we're looking at the length of time spent in the shower, and we want to phrase our answers in complete sentences. So we could say something like this for Stanley. I'll give you some sentence starters. Stanley's shower lasted how long? How long was his shower according to the text? It wasn't very long. But you, how long is your shower? You could say my normal shower takes, I don't know. I don't know how long your shower takes. That's you. That's a very personal question. What about the temperature of the water? Stanley's water temperature was ... me. I like my shower water to be quite warm. I enjoy a warm shower. Like, if it's not steaming, no, it's not hot enough. But maybe you like a chilly shower. I don't know. You rate what you like. And part C, shower knobs and the shower turn off. So what did they look like? What was missing? Stanley said something was missing. So maybe the shower knobs Stanley used were missing what? Or the shower knob Stanley used only had blank. What about you? So kind of think about your shower faucet situation. Do you have like one handle? Do you have two knobs? What does it look like? Mine kind of looks like a big nose, and then I turn it to where I like. And then the soap. So you could say Stanley used blank, 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 or Stanley didn't, blank, 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 to fill out that sentence, as opposed to you. Do you have a particular brand of soap that you like? My husband has recently started buying Sasquatch soap. I don't know if you've seen some of the commercials for that. They're pretty funny, but they're also great. I also like to buy soap from Ish downtown. It's good stuff, man. Yeah. Okay, so that's going to answer question number 1, comparing and contrasting Stanley's experience with your own experience. As we start reading page number 2, we're going to look at this person, Derek Doon. Okay, so I'm going to pop over and I'm going to read page 2. Now, as Stanley lay on his cot, he thought it was kind of funny in a way. Nobody had believed him when he said he was innocent. Now, when he said he stole them, nobody believed him either. Clyde Sweet Feet Livingston was a famous baseball player. He'd led the American League in stolen bases over the last 3 years. He was also the only player in history to ever hit 4 triples in one game. Stanley had a poster of him hanging on the wall of his bedroom. He used to have that poster anyway, until he didn't know where it was now. It had been taken by the police and was used as evidence of his guilt in the courtroom. Clyde Livingston also came to court. In spite of everything, when Stanley found out that Sweet Feet was going to be there, he was actually excited about the prospect of meeting his hero. Clyde Livingston testified that they were his sneakers and that he had donated them to help raise money for the homeless shelter. He said he couldn't imagine what kind of horrible person would steal from homeless children. That was the worst part for Stanley. His hero thought he was a no-good, dirty, rotten thief. As Stanley tried to turn over on his cot, he was afraid it was going to collapse under his weight. He barely fit in it. When he finally managed to roll over on his stomach, the smell was so bad that he had to turn over again and try sleeping on his back. The cot smelled like sour milk. Though it was night, the air was still very warm. Armpit was snoring 2 cots away. Back at the school, a bully named Derek Doon used to torment Stanley. The teachers never took Stanley's complaint seriously because Derek was so much smaller than Stanley. Some teachers even seemed to find it amusing that a little kid like Derek could pick on someone as big as Stanley. On the day Stanley was arrested, Derek had taken Stanley's notebook and, after a long game of come and get it, finally dropped it in the toilet in the boys' restroom. By the time Stanley retrieved it, he had missed his bus and had to walk home. It was while he was walking home, carrying his wet notebook, with the prospect of having to copy the ruined pages, that the sneakers fell from the sky. Okay, so we're going to focus on these 2 paragraphs about this bully that Stanley had. So pop back over to the tab. Question number 2. How is Derek Doon similar to a typical bully? So to set this sentence up, we would say Derek Doon is similar to a typical bully because What does he do that would earn him that name of bully? I can tell you he's not opening doors for Stanley. He's not bringing him coffee in the morning. No, he's being very cruel. He's playing one of those like, come and get it, and then probably throwing it between a friend or hiding it and then like sitting on it, probably like held it to his butt and farted on it. Boys, middle school boys, they probably did that. And then question number 3. So think about the ways that Stanley, the Stanley Derek bullying situation is different from a typical bullying situation. So we are contrasting this idea. A stereotypical bully is large and intimidating, but Derek is what? What does the text tell us about him? It tells us about his size. And then B, a stereotypical victim is small and physically weak, but Stanley is. We get some descriptions of Stanley's size and his personality. And then C, good teachers will take a bullying complaint seriously, but the attitude of Stanley's teachers is what? Or if you need to rephrase this sentence a little bit to fit with what you're thinking, that's fine too. So we're taking these narratives, these assumptions, but things are happening differently in Stanley's world, in Stanley's story. And this is so disappointing that a teacher should be someone who helps to stick up for their students. At least my teachers were. I hope your teachers are. I hope I'm not a mean teacher. We'll see. You're like, I've never met you in person. I don't know yet. Okay, let's get into the last pages. And then we'll wrap this guy up. So, the sneakers fell from the sky. I was walking home and the sneakers fell from the sky, he had told the judge. One hit me on the head. It had hurt too. They hadn't exactly fallen from the sky. He had just walked out from under a freeway overpass when the shoe hit him on the head. Stanley took it as some kind of sign. His father had been trying to figure out a way to recycle old sneakers, and suddenly a pair of sneakers fell on top of him, seemingly out of nowhere, like a gift from God. Naturally, he had no way of knowing they belonged to Clyde Livingston. In fact, the shoes were anything but sweet. Whoever had worn them had a bad case of foot odor. Stanley couldn't help but think that there was something special about the shoes, that they would somehow provide the key to his father's invention. It was too much of a coincidence to be a mere accident. Stanley had felt like he was holding Destiny's shoes. Not like a girl, but like destiny, your future. He ran. Thinking back now, he wasn't sure why he ran. Maybe he was in a hurry to bring the shoes to his father, or maybe he was trying to run away from his miserable and humiliating day at school. A patrol car pulled alongside him. A policeman asked him why he was running. Then he took the shoes and made a call on his radio. Shortly thereafter, Stanley was arrested. It turned out that the sneakers had been stolen from a display at the homeless shelter. That evening, rich people were going to come to the shelter and pay $100 to eat the food that the poor people ate every day for free. Clyde Livingston, who had once lived at the shelter when he was younger, was going to speak and sign autographs. His shoes would be auctioned, and it was expected that they would sell for over $5,000. All that money would go to help the homeless. Because of the baseball schedule, Stanley's trial was delayed several months. His parents couldn't afford a lawyer. You don't need a lawyer, his mother had said. Just tell the truth. Stanley told the truth, but perhaps it would have been better if he had lied a little. He could have said he found the shoes in the street. No one believed they fell from the sky. It wasn't destiny, he realized. It was his no-good, dirty, rotten, pig-stealing great-great-grandfather. The judge called Stanley's crime despicable. The shoes were valued at over $5,000. It was money that would provide food and shelter for the homeless, and you stole that from them just so you could have a souvenir. The judge said that there was an opening at Camp Green Lake, and he suggested that the discipline of the camp might improve Stanley's character. It was either that or jail. Stanley's parents asked if they could have some time to find out more about Camp Green Lake, but the judge advised them to make a quick decision. Vacancies don't last long at Camp Green Lake. Okay. End of chapter. Let's answer the last questions. Question number 4. When Stanley has to go to court about the stolen shoes, his mom encourages him to do the right thing and tell the truth. What's supposed to happen when you do the right thing? His mom's like, it'll all be fine. You didn't do anything wrong. So when you do the right thing, what's supposed to happen? You're supposed to get rewarded. You're supposed to have, good luck. You're supposed to feel good inside. But what happens to Stanley? This is a really good time to use one of those transition words, one of those signal words that let you know that you are contrasting. Maybe like, however, Stanley, blah, 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 or instead. So instead of being rewarded for his honesty, Stanley is what? Even though, that could be a good one. So even though Stanley thought, even though his mother says, just tell the truth, everything will be all right, what happens to Stanley? What happens? So here's some options and ways to phrase that sentence that lets you know and lets your reader know that you're contrasting. Yeah. And that's our last question. When you're done, make sure that you press the submit button or that turn in button. Whether you're on K-12 or Google Classroom, you want to get credit for the work you did. Make sure that you turn it in. If you know that your Wi-Fi is sketchy right now, maybe put it in a Word doc and then copy and paste it into K-12 if that's what you like to do, so that it saves. That is the downside of K-12, is that it doesn't save the text submissions. You have to press submit. Okay. So email me with any questions that you have. We're going to use the rest of class time as work time. When you're done, you're free to go. You're good. Although I may want to check in with you a little bit. But that's what we have for Holes, Chapter 6, and nearing the end of our Unit 6.